Hello everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to the As Always podcast. This is episode 163. I'm one of your hosts, James, and I'm joined as always by Tyler.
As always, how's it going, my friend?
Pretty good. I mean, how
pretty
are you?
wood. I'm not too bad. It's pretty wood. Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
Good.
Getting by. Sunday evening, weekend's over, work week starts, so that's pretty shit. But had a nice, pretty chill weekend. Weekend. The sun was out. It was beautiful weather for the first time here in so fucking long. So, you know what? Positive vibes, and we operate on vibes here on the As Always podcast. So yeah, how about yourself? What's been happening?
That's good. I'm streaming The Last of Us, just having a good time. Elva's visiting her family, so I've decided I'm going to take this opportunity to cave to my cravings of playing through The Last of Us and Part 2 again.
Never coming back, obviously.
Well, we do, yeah, we know that.
Well, we know eventually she'll realise and just not come back.
Yeah, I'm going to have to fly over there myself, and just handcuff her and bring her back.
Yeah.
I think it's the reasonable approach.
Well, what's the alternative?
Exactly, to die alone, which is not
happening. Yeah, I mean, we know that's probably your destiny.
Yeah, but, if I'm dying, I'm taking someone else with me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. That's reasonable.
Yeah,
if you can't be happy, why should anyone else? You know?
Exactly. That's the motto I live by.
That's what I also live by it. I think that's reasonable. Perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, that's a strong motto.
It's also the motto of the great people over at patreon.com/ as always. So if you like what you're listening to or seeing here and you want to see here more, head over to patreon.com/ as always, where you get exclusive access to the best podcast on the internet, the Clubhouse podcast, the People's Podcast powered by you, the people. For just as little as $1 a month, there's well over 130 episodes for you to stream right now for just $1. So go do that. Plus, other cool bonuses, perks, rewards. Go check it out. And thank you to our producers that make this show happen. My voice really went up when I said this.
That was
I pointed down and my voice went up. And I was like, oh, I am 15 again. We have our producers, Ollie the Superior Ollie, Damien the Not So Orange Gnome, Ferrantino, Flash Paradox, Jesper Olsen, King Richard III, Olbrich, Ryan Hafer, Viridian, and of course, Bullsack47. Thank you for helping power this podcast. James, I'll tell you what my week's been filled by.
Okay.
And, this is the As Always podcast. For those who don't know, we talk about the latest and greatest in video games, TV shows, movies, nerd shit, comic book movies, all that stuff. But this week has been about one thing and one thing only. Actually, two things. It's been, you know what? It's actually been a phenomenal weekend of things. But Star Wars.
Right.
Star Wars is filling up everything. For the last
that sounds awful, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. I've loved it.
That's good.
We've already released on the network, if you haven't checked out the Streamcast review of the spoiler cast of the first 2 episodes of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I was on that. Thank God for that, because it would have been a disaster and you wouldn't have gotten really good Star Wars opinions and breakdowns and really picked up on the intricate details of things. But I was there and I managed to, because of course Shep says at the start of the podcast that he hated it, and I knew he would. And I was like, because there's women in it. And then by the end of the episode, he's like, you know what? I actually love this. I turned him around. I totally turned him around because I was explaining things to him. I was like, no, this actually makes sense. And I throwing things at him, see what this did and that did. I was like, look, there's plenty of things that aren't good about it, but overall it does so many amazing things that I'm like willing to look over the leaps in logic in terms of plot, because I'm like, it's a fucking kid show, whatever, who cares? Like, just to get to the point where it's a moment, it's like, it's a nice character moment, it means a lot, that was fun, I really like that. That's sort of the way I view Star Wars. It's the way I view Marvel movies. It's not really about, I don't watch them to get like a Scorsese level plot or like, you know what I mean, a Christopher Nolan plot twist with incredibly intricate writing. That's not what they're there for to me, you know?
Sure.
I love them the same way I loved them when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's fair. But I also feel like you can have both. Like, look at the Winter Soldier.
The best of the best things are both.
Empire Strikes Back.
No, I'm not saying you can't. And I think Empire Strikes Back, in fairness, is a bad example because it was the second thing ever that was made, and Star Wars has now 1,000 things made of it. So Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back has nothing to base it off. Like,
no, but it has like they made a good solid film, so it's like, you know.
But there's other Star Wars films that are solid films as well. Then it's not just The Empire Strikes Back.
Well, yeah, but that's the best one.
Okay, sure. And The Winter Soldier, I agree. No, I don't. You can have both, but I don't think. But if it doesn't have both, it doesn't make it bad or shit. If you know what I mean.
No, not if you've got a lot of strengths in it, and I think Obi-Wan does, which is like
that's how I feel about Obi-Wan.
So why it was such a good time to watch. There were a couple moments where I was like, oh, that's. Don't know why they did that one, you know? You could probably have avoided that quite easily, actually, if you'd have just done something else. But, you know...
We're not at the end of the show. They could explain things.
There's a couple... I think in terms of, like, plot things that I thought were like, oh, that's a weird choice. They could very easily be explained, but I guess in my head I'm thinking, it's Disney. Like, when they do something that comes across as wrong, I just assume they've got it wrong, rather than it's meant to make you ask questions. But if it is meant to make me ask questions, then cool. That's interesting for the plot. So that's cool.
Let's dive into it, because stuff, we can talk spoilers. I feel like for TV shows that are this like pop culture poignant. Like, to be fair, remember when Twitter used to be like you'd have a couple days and then spoilers would be tweeted? Now it's like you have to watch it the hour it's out.
Yeah, you do. It's ridiculous.
Like, otherwise you have to avoid it. Like, it's getting crazier and crazier. So I feel like, you know, we can talk about it on this podcast, and there's timestamps in the description. So if you don't want to listen to this part, just skip over. But so full spoilers. And I know I already talked about this with Eddie and Champs, but I do want to know, James, your thoughts of the Obi-Wan show, and get your input, because I've watched the episodes 3 times.
Wow.
I just fucking loved it so much, and I guess. Sorry, I'm fucking burping. I've got a Pepsi here. I was like, oh, I'm pausing really dramatically. No, I've got a burp, and I didn't want to just barf into the microphone. No, I thought it was phenomenal. And don't get me wrong, and I said this on the streamcast, like, there's a lot of, like, logic leaps and shit, and I'm like, I guess, like, it's not impossible, but it's pretty fucking ridiculous. But I was like, I don't care. It doesn't matter that much. And there was so many strengths that came out of it. I loved Leia. Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan was fucking phenomenal. Reva, I liked her at the end of episode 2. I'm not sold on her yet. I'll tell you what I don't like, Star Wars fans, because of course, like, we had just such a great build up to the Obi-Wan show, and everyone's just so happy, and then instantly straight away half of them are just the worst cunts in the world. I'm like, cool, classic Star Wars. I can see people that would have an issue with it, because the show was either one of two things that you wanted. Either you wanted a very Logan-esque character study, Obi-Wan only focus, or you get Star Wars Episode 3.5 of the Skywalker Saga. I would have been happy either way, so I was very happy with what we got. James, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that what I was really pleased with is that I didn't really know what to expect going in. And so when the sort of show took the camera cuts and you're on Alderaan, I was like, oh, like there's this. I honestly, at the beginning when it does the big recap, I'm like,
dude, that's when you know. I feel like that's when I knew. When they did the recap, I was like, oh, we're covering everything. This is not just
because whenever a show does a sort of recap like that, you know, every little piece of information they've squeezed into it is important in some way.
Exactly.
So when you see Bail Organa like, oh, we'll take the girl, I'm like, oh, so Leia's going to be important in some way. Otherwise, why would you have put that in here?
Yeah, I definitely thought it was at least going to get referenced. I didn't expect what we got, where she's like the second main character of the show.
But I love it. I think it's such a good idea. It's such a great idea that I just didn't even think of or expect. But like, it adds so much depth, I think, to the relationship.
A New Hope. It means so much more to it. Actually, it makes the prequels better, and it makes the originals better.
Yeah, you get like the moment where she's in her cell and Luke comes in to save her, and he's like, "Oh, we're here," like, and you know, mentions Obi-Wan.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
Yeah, and then
she's like, "Who?" She's like, "I'm with Ben Kenobi." Ben Kenobi, where is he? And
it's
then
like,
she runs
it makes so much sense. Like when I realized that, when I was watching the show and I was
she
like,
names her son
adds
Ben.
So much more. She
names her son Ben, and you think, is it just because? Yeah, just because Luke, like, you know about him, of course, from your dad talks about him, and then Luke, he trained Luke, so you're like, I'll call my son, and Han Solo's son Ben, and he was also really important to you. When you were 10, he saved your life, you went on an adventure with him, And I hope she's in the show more. Like, I hope that's not the end of Obi-Wan and Leia together. Like, because it doesn't fuck with the canon. It doesn't fuck with the timeline at all. We know very little about Leia's upbringing. Even just seeing her with Jimmy Smits, who played Bail Organa, and we've seen him in the prequels. We saw him in Rogue One. I love Jimmy Smits. Yeah, and I was like, we finally got to see his relationship with Leia rather than just the references to my father will hear about this. Like, you saw it. You're like, love.
It was really well written too. Like, the moment with them on the balcony was just really nice. And I think, like, it adds as well depth to Alderaan as a place, because, like, then when it gets destroyed, like, you kind of have a bit more of a connection to it, because, you know, previously the only time we'd ever seen it was that short moment at the end of Revenge of the Sith, and then obviously, you know, in A New Hope, just before it gets destroyed. So I like that depth that it adds there. To something important, and I also love Bail Organa, and his relationship with Leia was nice.
Whenever you think to yourself, like, before, when they're developing the show, people are like, oh, well, it's obviously Obi-Wan, you know, he can't leave Luke behind, he'll just stay in touch with him. It's like, no, he'll definitely go somewhere else. It's like, why? That's such a big leap. Why would he leave? He's not supposed to leave. And I'm like, fuck it, let him leave, because it'll be awesome, and Darth Vader, like, I'm just seeing that. But you give the only reason that's, like, no perfect explanation for why he would leave Luke to go, and that's to help his sister, Leia. You know, like Bale said, she's just as important as he is, and she needs you. So, and Luke's fine right now, as far as you can tell. Like, he hasn't been in any pressing danger. Go help Leia, and you can come back. Like, help the one that's actually in trouble. So that made total sense that Obi-Wan would leave to find Leia. I loved them together, their dynamic together. The Padme line was beautiful, like, giving her some shine. It just felt like it was strengthening the prequels and strengthening the originals. And you can't ask for the show to do any more than that. Even if within the show, it's like, oh, there's a couple of plot leaps within the show. So was there in the fucking prequels. There are in regular Star Wars. There's plot leaps everywhere. But does it strengthen the overall characters and relationships of the saga? Yes. And the big moments, yes. It more strengthens it than takes away. You know, granted, I thought, you know, the Reva logic of getting Leia and Bail and bringing Obi-Wan out, like, that was such a stretch of logic.
It's a weird one.
But whatever.
And I think that's what probably works to making people dislike her character, is probably just that her thought process and method is kind of a little bit illogical. And I think people, like, subconsciously, you're like, oh, I don't like her very much, but it's just because the writing for her so far, at least in terms of the plot, has been a little bit poor. But, like, I mean, we've still got 4 episodes to go. I think they could really bring us around on the character. I mean, I don't feel anything very strongly for Reva at the minute. I'm kind of like, yeah, she exists, I guess.
I feel the same. But I loved her at the end of that episode too, though. Like, she was actually really intense and evil. You know, when she's like, Obi-Wan, like, you're not going to die today. Like, that whole dialogue, I thought she delivered it really well. It was well directed. The music was gorgeous. Ewan obviously just murdered that moment, acting-wise. Like, we'll get into that. Sorry, let's do that last. But what was there anything you didn't like about the show? Like, when we get into the show and the Obi-Wan stuff itself, were you happy with that? Was there what were your thoughts?
I think I was happy with it all. The moments that stand out to me as, like, issues was, like, I guess, I mean, I think I in terms of, like, Reva's character, I guess I do want to know, like, why she's doing what she's doing, but I guess that's something hopefully we'll learn as the show progresses, like, because I feel like she's also doing it with a lot of malice too, which feels, like, quite aggressive, whereas all the other Inquisitors are kind of just, like, you know, matter of fact, this is our job sort of thing. So I guess if there's a reason for why she's so passionate about this, then that'd be interesting to explore. But the only the major thing that stands out is the forest scene with the bounty hunters trying to catch Leia. I just thought was just so funny, just such a funny scene.
Yeah,
because as well she just gets captured anyway. So just have her be captured anyway.
It's the most kids movie chase scene of all time.
Yeah,
because it's for the kids that are watching it to be like, yeah, I could run away, like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like
it's one of those things where you kind of just like, yeah, that was silly, but we move on. I
was really worried about Leia in the fan reaction. I was like, part of me was like, maybe I was just jaded. I was like, I'm gonna go on Twitter and everyone's gonna hate her. Oh my god, why they try to make her just so sassy and she's only 10 and she's doing all this, and I'm like, she's
so annoying.
Anakin built a fucking pod racer at 10, like in C-3PO, like it was a genius. I'm not shocked that she's like way ahead in like her smarts and how clever she is at reading people, and it's such a power of hers within the Force to read people. She does it all through the original trilogy and the sequels, and is able to connect with people, and like that's how you assume you take it with like how she senses that her cousin's like fear of his father, like it just sort of comes out of nowhere, but it's her ability to like sense people's feelings.
Yeah, you'd think so, yeah.
And I love how that added to Leia. It just strengthened Leia's character. And to be fair, I haven't seen any negatives towards her yet. I've mostly seen everyone super positive about it, which is great. Put some fucking respect on Leia. But it's just hard with kid actors because we saw it with the Anakin one, and also just female characters in general, to be honest, especially in Star Wars, are just born to take fucking shit online. I mean, I think Carrie Fisher, if she was alive to see this, would be so proud of this girl and the performance she put on as Leia. And I thought she has added to the legacy of Carrie Fisher. She's added to the legacy of Princess Leia. Totally. Love her. I want more. I don't want this to be the end of her as the plot device. I'd love to see more of her. Maybe not as much because I want to spend time with like Darth Vader and other characters, but I would love to still see her a part of the show and series until the end.
Yeah, for sure.
What did you think of Obi-Wan on Tatooine in that first episode and sort of his state of mind and the way they portrayed that?
I thought it was good. I thought it was all like really solid. Like you got these moments where he thinks about trying to help, and he just kind of like has to push it down and try to blend in and everything, and I think that's quite nice. You've got like his little cave house. He's got the little animal from Phantom Menace. He's riding it along, which by the way looked really, really good. Like the CGI for that animal thing when it lays down for the first time, I was like, holy shit, that looks really real. Which was just something I noticed. But yeah, no, overall I think everything on Tatooine was really good. The first episode I think for me was overall probably stronger than the second.
Okay.
But I loved them both. I thought both did a lot of good shit.
Yeah. I definitely like highlight moments of that. And again, I said this on Streamcast, but I want to say it to you is, I mean, I think the way he's voiced Obi-Wan was always great and very Alec Guinness-esque, and I think he's stepped it up even more, like, now that he's closer to that age. Like, it feels like Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's just so good at it. I love that you see the difference of how jaded and like, broken he is, where you see the two ways a Jedi could behave in this instance of where, the galaxy is in its state with the Empire. You can either help people and get killed, as we saw, like that's how the Inquisitors hunt Jedi, or you can literally bury the Jedi within you down so deep that you're like, I don't care what happens, I'm not putting myself at risk. And Obi-Wan sees it as like his mission to protect Luke, that he literally will not use the Force and hasn't, or used his lightsaber. He buried his lightsaber in the desert, and that showed you that both Anakin, and it was such a great like literal representation of it, that Anakin and Obi-Wan both died at the end of Revenge of the Sith, and Ben Kenobi and Darth Vader were born. And that moment of him going to the desert and digging up, not just this coffin, but it was the grave of Obi-Wan and Anakin. Both their lightsabers were in there, and that was the moment they're both reborn again, like, in a way. Like, they're those feelings, those emotions, that past has now been brought back up. And that's where this adventure leads, right? Like Obi-Wan Kenobi coming back, not just Ben Kenobi. And that feeling and that past of Anakin is going to come back. Like, this movie will be about... This show will almost certainly, and has to be an element of it, is Obi-Wan trying to bring Anakin back and fully accepting that he's Darth Vader now and Anakin's dead. But those feelings will be explored, and Darth Vader will have to wrestle with Anakin again. And I think you see that at the end of episode 2, when Obi-Wan, like, I'd like to think, right, but it's all up to interpretation, when Obi-Wan says Anakin, that moment through the Force connects and wakes up Darth Vader, or wakes up Anakin, right? But in that, you've woken up Darth Vader, and he senses Obi-Wan, maybe for the first time in 10 years. How did you see that moment?
No, yeah, I think I agree. I think it was that moment of them reconnecting somewhat. To then set that up for the rest of the show, because I think it's something that's hopefully going to be explored in a decent bit of depth, because there is that. I think you've got to, by the end of this show, you've got to get Obi-Wan to a point where he no longer believes Anakin is in there. And you've got to get Darth Vader to a point where he also believes Anakin's no longer in there. So that you can then move forward with, what we see of Darth Vader across, Star Wars Rebels, and Rogue One, and the original trilogy. So I think that's the point you got to get to. But to get there, you need this, strong character struggle on both sides. And, you got to have the two of them come head to head, have that confrontation, and wrap up with both of them feeling that Anakin is actually truly dead. And that then takes us into, what we see from the original trilogy. I think it's, a good setup for that, connecting them again. It's going to be an emotional ride, and then you wrap up where we sort of need to be wrapped up. I think they've done a good job in establishing that, but not being too, heavy-handed or too quick to it either. I like that. Like, I was afraid they'd want to, throw Darth Vader in as soon as possible, have random shots of him, talking to the Inquisitors or whatever. But, they've gone 2 episodes and, we've not heard him speak yet. We've not even seen him in the suit. We've just heard his, breathing. And obviously we've seen Anakin. So I'm pretty confident with how they're handling it so far. I feel like it's going in the right direction, to be honest.
I mean, they delivered at the end of the second episode, in my opinion, one of the top 10, if not top 5, one of the great Star Wars moments of all time. Like, I had a list, and I have a checklist of things I want to see from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. And a bunch of them were checked off within the first 2 episodes, but one of the big, and plus things I never even thought about that I love, which is Leia. What a highlight, and just done so well. But I'd say the number one thing, other than Obi-Wan and Darth Vader facing off, thing I was excited to see happen was Obi-Wan has to think that Anakin's dead. I want to see the moment he finds out he's alive. That's the moment I want to see. I want to see the look on Obi-Wan's face, on Ewan McGregor's face, when he finds out that Anakin's alive. And when they kept saying in the first couple of episodes, Anakin's dead, blah, 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 I'm like, yes, that's good. He doesn't know. And, we know that he knows that Anakin's Darth Vader. That's his name. So if he'd heard of Darth Vader, he knows it's Anakin. That's how I sort of saw it. So I was like, he doesn't know Anakin's alive, so he hasn't heard Vader. But, we see in Revenge of the Sith, he hears Sidious call him Vader. So Obi-Wan knows his Sith name. So the moment when Reva goes, I'm just going to take you to him, Lord Vader will be pleased. And the look on Obi-Wan's face, I say Ewan because it was an incredible performance.
Yeah, it was.
All those, I had goosebumps, dude. I don't know about you.
It was really
fucking
good.
Goosebumps.
It was really, really good. It was that moment of you realizing as well, oh shit, he's just found out in that moment, seeing it was a brilliant performance, just the way that he just didn't know what to do. It's that moment of, I feel like it's a combination of panic, but also I feel a bit of hope in there too, realizing that someone he considered one of his closest friends is actually still alive, even if he is still Darth Vader. I feel like there was that element to it as well, where he just didn't know
hope.
What to think.
It was the mixture of hope and fear. It was the two emotions I got. I'm he definitely was hopeful and oh my god, my friend, I want to see him, I want him back, I want that hope. And then the other half was fear of like, holy fuck, how did I let this happen? That the Chosen One, this powerful Jedi, one of the most powerful Jedi, survived and for 10 years has been just growing in strength of the dark side. And these Inquisitors that are hunting the Jedi that I thought the Emperor had sent and put together aren't the Emperor's doing. They're fucking Darth Vader's.
Yeah. It's wild.
The only problem was Reva should not know that Anakin is
that was the one thing where I was like,
that was the problem.
When it happened, I was like, I was like, wait, how the fuck does she know he's Anakin? Like, I just hope that gets brought up in the future.
Oh, it has to, please. But also, you gave me the moment I wanted, which is Obi-Wan finding out. I don't really care how you did it. I'm like, yep, whatever, we all know. Fuck it.
Yeah, I think if it's never touched upon again, then it's an issue. But if they bring it up, I mean, to me, the way, like, from what we've seen of Reva, I feel like she very much does not like to listen to people. She wants to take things into her own hands and do everything she can, and I feel like she somehow, through some sort of like, in trying to research Obi-Wan and like to get to him, she somehow figured out that Darth Vader is Anakin. Maybe we'll find out exactly how. Yeah. But I feel like that's
I also sometimes don't know how people don't like how some. At least, like, it can't just be no one in the Empire knows that Anakin became Darth Vader, because he was acting as Darth Vader, being called Darth Vader while he was Anakin. For a time, though it wasn't long, people saw him, and they knew his name was Vader. Like, so I'm like... So when he get in the suit and they're still calling him Vader, they're like, oh, that must be Anakin. Like, surely there's still, like, a gossip section of the Empire that's, like, some people are like, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that's fucking Anakin. You know what I mean? Like, like, surely a couple of people know. Logically.
You got, like, Tarkin by the water cooler talking to the stormtroopers.
I'm telling you, dude, it's like, did you hear? Have you heard?
I think that most people don't know who Anakin is. Like...
He's one of the greatest Jedi warriors of the Clone Wars.
True, I guess. Like, all the clones
people know who Obi-Wan Kenobi is. Like, surely if you know Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda, you know Anakin.
But by the point of, like, where we're at now, all the clones are, like, dead or no longer about because, you know, they age, and so they've been replaced by all these stormtroopers. Yeah. Tarkin would know because he was in Clone Wars and he worked with Anakin, so I guess Tarkin would know. And obviously the Emperor does. I feel like it's not something people even really think about. I don't know. That is a weird thing to think about, though. How would people just not know? But I guess people didn't really know. I guess people didn't really know the names of the Jedi unless, like, they served with them in the war.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is some people have to know. Even if it is, for the majority, 99.9% of people don't know and it is a secret. And it sort of, like, goes out saying, like, don't fucking bring it up. Like, I'd love to see the first guy to bring it up at, like, a meeting. They fucking got choked out. They got choked the fuck out at that meeting.
They were fucked.
If we know you're Anakin, it's like, don't fucking use that name, cunt. You know? But to see that, that moment and like, Leia being there for that, and like, I just love, the thing I love about episode 2 when I think about it, I'm like, dude, I just got to watch Ewan McGregor play Obi-Wan again, and he went on an adventure with Leia. I'm like, and it makes total canonical sense and made the past and future movies better. I'm like, what more can you ask for from this show than what it's doing thus far? You know, again, logically, it's weird things, but overall, man, there's just, I love it. I just love it. You know, it's just exciting to never in our lives when we saw those, you know, prequel Star Wars movies as kids, those were our movies. Did we think to ourselves, we're going to get a sequel essentially to our movies that's just about our movies? And this is literally Star Wars Episode 3.5. This is not the Obi-Wan Kenobi character piece that some people thought. This is the next chapter of the Skywalker saga between 3 and 4, and it involves Obi-Wan, Darth Vader, Leia, and Luke. Like, it involves everyone.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Have you paid much attention to... Has it made you excited about other Star Wars things, or are you like, nah, this is it, fuck everything else?
Nah, I don't care about anything else.
Okay. It's got me really jacked up on Star Wars.
I'm
on a high. I'm on a Star Wars
You never know. I could finish it and be like, wow, that was so great. Maybe I'll give something else a shot. Maybe. Yeah. But...
Did you see the trailer for Andor?
I did see the trailer for Andor. Yeah.
What did you think of that?
Fucking whatever. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Okay.
Who the fuck asked for this? Come
Yeah.
on, Disney.
Yeah.
What
It did
why?
look pretty good though. To be fair, I was watching. I was like, that actually looks really fucking sick.
It looked nice. Like when I was looking at the trailer, I was like, this is nice to look at. I enjoy this. I can't help but feel like a show doing whatever they're doing would be in a better position if it wasn't following Cassian Andor, because you could do more with it and take it in a different direction. But I guess if you really, really want to do a prequel story of Cassian Andor, the beloved character from Rogue One, then I guess you can. All right, yeah, fine.
Yeah. See the build up of the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to see that.
Yeah, everything needs an origin, alright? Everything needs an origin. They're doing an origin cartoon animated thing of, like, Ahsoka's origin or whatever.
Yeah. Ahsoka's becoming a very important character in this Disney Star Wars world, yet have not put her on a movie. It's like, come on. The majority of people that watch Star Wars don't know who the fuck Ahsoka is. And it's a shame, because I think she's actually a great character.
Yeah. She is a great
character. I've been seeing, in the build-up to Obi-Wan, I was definitely watching a lot of clips of like things in like Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is what that like, you know, figuring things out, and saw a lot of Ahsoka things. Like I guess don't want to spoil anything, but like the end of Rebels, I think it's the end of Rebels, or like there's a thing, and I was like, that's fucking sick.
Oh, you mean the end of season 2?
Yeah, it must be I don't know how many seasons there are.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Involving like a major character in Ahsoka's, you know. And I was like, that's fucking sick.
It's a great scene, yeah.
And I guess I'm actually excited to see the Ahsoka show because of how that's going to connect to the past, and if they'll, in a live action sense, tell some of the stories or make it. I don't know. I'm a live action person, that we know. I'm just keen to see the character explored in depth and give it a shot. If it's good or bad, we don't know, but I just want to give it a shot.
Yeah, I might watch Ahsoka. I don't know. I'm kind of turned off by live action Ahsoka. It's weird to look at. I don't know why. I just can't. My brain doesn't like it.
Yeah, you've said that. Yeah,
it's like Ahsoka to me. Even Rebels Ahsoka to me was a bit difficult to get behind. It's like the art style of Clone Wars like characterized it to me. It's like that is Ahsoka. That's what she looks like. And when she looks like she does in Rebels, like it took me a bit to get used to, but it's the same voice and like it ends up working.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't know.
Is that not the same then when you talk about like Obi-Wan and Anakin in the Clone Wars? You're like, I characterize them as live action. So I see these cartoon versions. I'm like, well, these aren't real. Why
but I think the other way round, it can always work. If you have like an animated version of a live action thing, it always works. But when you try and do a live action version of an animated thing, it can feel weird. I don't know.
See, I feel weird both ways. I actually feel less weird the other way. I feel the opposite to how you feel about it. I was like, a live action version validates the character to me as a real character.
Interesting.
Like, that's how I see that. I'm like, well, Ahsoka's actually important. Like, that's when I went on Twitter and people were saying that Satine, or whatever the fuck her name is, was who Obi-Wan was referring to and talking to Leia. I'm like, oh, you mean the character that 7 people know about? Yeah, that's what they were referring to, you fucking idiots.
I saw like a load of people debating about who it is. Like, there's a debate to be had. Like, the only one that makes any narrative or thematic sense is Padme. It makes no sense for him to be referencing any other character in Star Wars canon.
They're dumb people trying to be smart. That's what they are. You're
like,
an idiot. If you thought,
actually, I read this comic from 2006, and I think he's talking about this person. No, he's not talking about that person.
Yes, okay. Yeah, 100% though. 100%. That's how I felt. I'm like, you're fucking clever. Because you watch the fucking shit animated stuff, like, oh yeah, it's definitely referring to that because that's way more important. But she's a leader and Padme's not that. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, no one knows who that is. My parents are keen and have watched Obi-Wan. My parents don't watch fucking anything, and they're like, yeah, they grew up watching Star Wars, but they just watch the movies. They'll watch them once when they come out of the movies, and that'll be it for them. So they only know the movies. Tell me they haven't seen Rebels and fucking Clone Wars. Like,
sure?
so when,
Your parents must be avid fans of Star Wars
so
Rebels.
when they see the Obi-Wan show, they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll see that." Like Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor, yeah, 100%. Those are your we watched them when you were kids. They were keen to see it, and when they see the reference, and I was like, they're like, "Well, obviously, it's the only possible explanation of who it could be." There's no debate.
It's the only other woman.
99% of people that watched it were like, "Well, we know who it is," and then you got that 1% that of the 1%, 99 people knew. 1% of people know who Satine is, or whatever the fuck her name is. Satin? What's how do you say her name?
There is a Satine and there is a Sabine. I don't know which one you're talking about.
The chick that Obi-Wan fucking
that's
over.
That's Satine, I think. Yeah.
Satine. 1% of people that watch Obi-Wan know who Satine is, and of that 1%, 99% of them still knew it was about Padme. It was just the 1% of 1% that were dumb fucks.
It's obviously about Padme. Why would she be referencing someone that Leia there's no connection
in issue
to Leia
number 7 of Darth Vader? They
It's so stupid. And like as well, doesn't he say like he says something about them being like dead or something? I don't remember. Or like he says something. I can't remember what he said.
She died a long time ago.
Yeah, Satine's not dead, or maybe she is. I don't know.
No, she is. She is dead.
Oh,
I did a big Obi-Wan recap on YouTube.
How did she die?
I don't know. Who cares?
I don't even
Doesn't
remember.
matter. Not an important character. I've seen 2 scenes with her. I just know like I only know about it because I watched a Clone Wars scene. There was Obi-Wan saying to Anakin like, "It's okay to have feelings," when he was like asking about Padme. I'm like, what the fuck's he talking about? And then I was like, okay, and I found like a clip of her and her dying, and I was like, okay.
Oh yeah, Darth Maul strangles her and then stabs her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I do remember that. Hey, it's good stuff. Don't knock the fucking Clone Wars, alright?
Yeah, right.
I wanna hear it.
When does Ahsoka come into Clone Wars?
At the beginning.
She's in it from the start. Like,
well,
they start the show, like, well, let's write in this character like season 2 or 3. She's season 1.
Yeah, because the Clone Wars series takes place after the Clone Wars movie, and she was introduced in the movie. It's like her meeting Anakin for the first time. There's a Clone Wars
movie?
Yeah, it was really bad. Everyone collectively hates it, yeah. Which is why when the show started, most people were like, "Oh no, they're doing this," and then like Dave Filoni like turned it all around, and he was like, "No, you're gonna like it." And
so there's a Clone Wars movie, and that's where Ahsoka gets introduced.
Yeah, everyone hated Ahsoka so much in Clone Wars when the movie came out. All the discourse was just that she's absolutely terrible. What would they think? And she's so annoying. And then they turned it all around. But I think that's the point. Like, she's supposed to be annoying because what they do later on is her being so headstrong and like arrogant and annoying she ends up failing time and time again, and like she ends up getting into bad situations because of it. And then you see her learning, and she develops, and she becomes way more patient, and there's like little arcs about that. It's so good. And then she just becomes like this well-rounded, incredible character. So it's but the movie sucks.
Yeah, okay.
So that's when they first introduced her.
Right. And did she become Anakin's... Like, how did she become Anakin's apprentice? Did he want her? Did she just sort of... Was she given to him? Like, I watched an opening scene with, like, her meeting Obi-Wan and Anakin the other day. And, again, man, I went deep into Star Wars. But I didn't get some of it. Because I was watching just clips of these shows I've never seen. She was supposed to be Obi-Wan's apprentice, like new Padawan, and like Obi-Wan goes, "You should get a Padawan." And he's like, "Oh, I don't have time for that. Too busy fucking Padme." On the side,
I think that is what happened. Yeah, I don't really remember. But then Anakin doesn't want her, and then they end up having to go on a mission together to return like Jabba the Hutt's nephew to him or something. Okay. It's a weird story, and then they just end up bonding and becoming close, and then he's like, "Yeah, whatever, I will take on an apprentice." And then there's
And is that the show or the movie?
Of stuff. That's the movie. By the end of the movie, they're mates.
So in season 1, episode 1, Ahsoka's around, and she's Anakin's apprentice.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just start telling stories. They're just like each episode is a new story, and sometimes they do like multiple parts, and it like has little arcs, but.
Okay. There's a lot of episodes though, isn't there?
There's a lot, and they're out of order, like chronologically, which is like so strange. But it's kind of cool when you you watch an episode from season 1, and then in season 5 they come back to it, and you're like, oh, that's linking back to this. It's kind of fun, although it's a bit weird. But
it's super weird.
Yeah.
Right. Is Ahsoka the main character, would you say, of the show?
No, not really. Well, it depends on the episode, because she can be. They have like interchangeable main characters, because like sometimes you do a story arc where it's 4 episodes and Anakin and Obi-Wan aren't even in it. Maybe it's just about Ahsoka, and then you do another one like it's just Anakin. Maybe Ahsoka doesn't show up, and sometimes it's all of them. It just depends.
Is it Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka? Those are 3.
Yeah, those are definitely the main 3. Well, there is an episode where it's just Padme and Jar Jar Binks, and I'll tell you that is a hell of an episode.
That sounds awful.
It's it's an episode. It's something that they did. Mace Windu was the main character one time as well. He was like the main character, so
yeah,
they do one-offs.
And Rebels is Ahsoka a main character in Rebels, or is she more of a side character in Rebels? I'm getting the vibe she's a side
character.
Yeah, I'm getting the vibe she's a bit of a side character. And Ezra's the main character. Is that the name of the guy from Rebels?
Yeah, Ezra.
And he's like a Jedi apprentice. Is he still like a thing after Luke and the Empire for like the original trilogy? Because like I keep seeing this thing of like, where's Ezra?
Yeah,
we're gonna find out.
What happened is he was on a Star Destroyer. Yeah, spoilers for the end of Rebels. He was on a Star Destroyer with Thrawn, and this was obviously before A New Hope. He I don't know what he does. I can't remember. It's been a while, but he uses the Force and takes the Star Destroyer somewhere where no one knows where they went. So it's yet to be revealed what happened to Ezra and Thrawn after the end of Rebels, because they just sort of vanish.
Is Ahsoka going to explore that?
I think because you see at the end, because the Rebels then after that happens and they wrap everything up, it goes 30 years later, or not 30 years later, however many years later it is till after the end of Return of the Jedi. So it's just as Return of the Jedi ends, Ahsoka comes back and she's there, and she's it seems like she's going off to try and find Ezra. So I imagine that's a story they'll tell, probably in Ahsoka.
Okay, that's interesting.
I shouldn't know all this, I hate Star Wars. Why do I know all this? This is so stupid.
Yeah. I almost want to watch The Mandalorian now, just because I'm that into Star Wars. And I don't
not
even
doing
like
it.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it.
I don't know. The episodes... So, Obi-Wan, the 2 episodes came out on Friday. Eddie and Chips were trying to tell me from now on it's on Wednesdays, all the other episodes. Is that true, or are they all on Fridays?
I don't think so. I think they moved the whole show to Fridays, right?
That's what I thought too. I'm like, what are you fuckwits talking about?
I just assumed because they moved the first episodes to Friday that every episode would come out on Friday. Oh no, it does say on this article the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi have now arrived as of Friday the 27th of May.
Yeah, Wednesday should out. Episode 3, Wednesday.
Oh my god, what the fuck? That's so soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
That's very cool.
Not mad at that.
No, I can't be mad at that. We're definitely seeing Darth Vader in episode 3, by the way. I feel like the opening of episode 3 will be him suiting up, putting the arms on and shit, going out of the tank. That'll be the opening.
I think so too. I think that makes a lot of sense, especially since he was the end of episode 2. It makes sense to then open episode 3 with, the other side of things. We had 2 episodes with Obi-Wan and that side. It makes sense to flip it back and have some time with Darth Vader. Maybe even a whole episode. Maybe we don't see Obi-Wan. Maybe we have a whole episode about the Inquisitors and Vader and the Empire. Yeah. That could be a potential thing. Who knows?
Yep, I agree. But,
I
feel like it's fine to just sort of go back and forth between them, the way they did with Leia and Obi-Wan in episode 1. Just to jump back and forth. I don't see why you can't keep doing that. And treat it like it's a Star Wars movie. Episode 3.5. This is, the in-between. But yeah, that's Star Wars talk.
Wow.
For today. which I knew would be a big part of this episode because of Star Wars Celebration and just news after news after news of Star Wars.
True.
I mean, the Jedi Survivor trailer, that was also a thing? Forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the game, but obviously the trailer showed absolutely nothing of substance.
Yeah, I mean, nothing we don't know. It's set 5 years again later after the first game. Cal's a bit older. Obviously, probably, a full-fledged Jedi by this point, a lot stronger when we start off. But yeah, like you said, doesn't really show much.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing Cal in live action at some point as well, though, just putting that out there.
I think if there's a perfect time to show him, it's have him show up in this show, but...
In Obi-Wan?
Yeah. I felt like him being in it could work. I don't know if it makes sense after seeing
I feel like
Ahsoka's
a good spot for Cal to show up if he survived.
Yeah, if he survives.
But because the actor obviously looks identical to the character in the game, so it's like it's seamless.
It's a no-brainer. Get him in one of these things. It'll make sense.
Yeah, 100%. Friday, man, like when those 2 episodes dropped, I was like, this is unbelievable. How good is this? And then after I finished watching episode 1 and 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, I went to the movies, to the cinemas, and I saw the greatest action movie ever released, Top Gun Maverick. Bro, it was unfucking believable how good that movie was.
I've heard nothing but good things about the film. It's been really crazy. It's kind of just taken over Twitter. Everyone's been saying, like, it's impossible to describe how good it is. And I can't tell whether everyone's in on a joke or whether it genuinely is one of the greatest films ever made.
It's so fucking good. As a person that... I saw with a friend that has never seen the original Top Gun, doesn't know the original Top Gun, and they loved it. They're like, I was gripped the entire time. I thought it was amazing. Obviously grew up. It's my dad's favorite fucking film of all time. Like, he became a pilot because of not because of Top Gun, but is a part of it, like Top Gun. Like, I loved it. So I grew up. We watched Top Gun. It's a great fucking movie. Classic. And I love Tom Cruise.
You do love
so
Tom
I'm like,
Cruise.
can't wait for Top Gun Maverick. And everything they did with the way they filmed it. Like, they did so many amazing moments where they called back to the original movie. They perfectly, like, had fan service moments, but everything was perfectly, like, earned. Nothing was cringy. Nothing was cheesy. Everything was just... Everything that referenced the original movie, was cool as fuck. But they just mostly spent the time just making a cool as fuck movie in its own right. Like, this is better than the original Top Gun in every way. But it also made the original Top Gun even better as well. Like, the action in the way they filmed it, because they filmed it in the jets. Like, it sounded like a horror movie for these actors to make this movie. I don't reckon anyone had fun making it other than Tom. But like, you knew, like, we're suffering to make fucking glory for cinemas. And that's what it was. Like, they're in these jets doing crazy shit. And, I mean, Tom does know how to, like, fucking fly a lot of these things. But they have, like, real pilots in the back of the, like, F-18s and shit flying the jets. But just so many cool moments. And not trying to do one of those, like, sequel, remake, reboot type things with old 80s, 90s movies where it's like, it's not really about the main guy from there, they're too old. No. Tom Cruise is the main fucking character. Maverick is a boss. But all the new characters are also really great as well. Everything about, like, almost flawless of a film, to be honest. Just one of the great action movies ever, without fail. Every sequence, like, action sequence that was happening would outdo the one before. You're like, holy shit, this is so intense. There's no way they can outdo it. And you're like, oh my god, they're fucking outdoing it. Like, every time they just up the ante. And again, like you said, dude, everyone I've talked to, male, female, young and old, everyone that I've talked to, from work in the office to friends texting me to online on Twitter, is like, Top Gun Maverick is incredible. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. Not one negative. I've never seen a movie more universally loved than Top Gun Maverick is right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I wasn't really even thinking about it, but honestly, after everything everyone said, I'm like, I kind of maybe need to watch the original Top Gun, which I probably should have done anyway at this point.
Yeah, you'll love it. It's
And
so
then,
gay. It's so gay. You'll love it.
Oh, amazing! I love
It's
gay.
shirtless. It's corny. It's 80s.
That's great.
Cool.
I like that shit.
It's got the romance, 80s romance storyline in there as well. It's got shirtless men playing beach volleyball, sweating and baby oil all over them. It's so gay. It's brilliant. But then it's got cool one-liners and just 80s quips.
Nice.
And then you'll watch this. You've at least, even if you don't see the original, you've just got to see this.
Yeah.
You've got to see Maverick.
Yeah, I reckon I will. I reckon I'll do both because I can't ever do anything halfway. So I will watch the original at some point, and then I'll go see this new one, and I can tell you what I thought.
Yeah, see, I don't know if I think you'll think the original's fine. I don't know if it's a you movie, and it is old, obviously. Like, I love it.
With it. I think I'll vibe
but I think you'll be like, yeah, that was fine. That was fine. And then I think you'll see Top Gun Maverick, you're like, oh, this is like... Because they're not even comparable in the way they're filmed. I mean, they're filmed... Like, they're like 40 years apart. You know what I mean? Like, it's one's... The technology in which they're filmed. Like, Tom Cruise has been offered Top Gun... to do a Top Gun sequel for 40 years. People have wanted him to do another one. He's like, no, I'm not doing it. Not doing it. Not doing it. And people have pitched him the ideas, and he was waiting for the right idea. He was also waiting for the technology to be where they could get cameras actually in the F-18s and in the jets. And now they could. And it's just, you can feel it. Like, you know when you just know, like, a movie's bullshit and you're on a green screen? And, like, when you love practical effects, that's why this movie is also so intense. Because you're on the edge of your seat action because it all feels like it's really fucking happening.
Yeah.
Like, it actually feels like everything in these jets... I'm like, if I was a kid, if I was 13 and I watched this movie, I would become a fighter pilot. I would want to become a fighter pilot. They made it look so fucking sick. Everyone was so cool. Like, it's great. Great actors. Yeah.
That's cool. I look forward to seeing. I can't wait to see what this shit's all about, because everyone's been talking very highly of it, and that's great. I like to see it. It's nice to see a movie that, and Top Gun's huge. It's a big, everyone knows what Top Gun is, even if you've never seen it. So it's not, the same in a sense, but it's nice to see a movie that's not Star Wars or Marvel have such high praise. It's nice to see just something in the cinema that's, not the same, 50 films from Disney. It's just
I totally agree, and it's killed the box office. Like, it's doing Marvel movie numbers at the box office. Good. It did 50 million in its opening day. It's Tom Cruise's biggest opening preview on the Thursday, like, biggest opening preview day of his entire career. Dude's been making movies for 40 years at the highest level, and this is his biggest opening of all time. I love that. And I saw a great tweet today from someone that goes, the crazy part is Tom Cruise might actually save movie theaters. Like, Tom Cruise might actually be the one to save cinemas. It's like, it's true. Everyone's talking about they're sick of the, like, only thing at cinemas people see in Marvel movies or Star Wars. No, Tom Cruise is here to save the day. The fucking goat of action films is here to save the fucking day. And he's got Mission Impossible 7 next year and 8 the year after. I'm here for it all day. All day. For Tom Cruise. But yeah, go see, if you haven't seen Top Gun, ladies and gentlemen, go see Top Gun Maverick at cinemas. If you feel so obliged, also go find yourself the original movie and watch that before you see Top Gun Maverick. But I don't think you have to enjoy Top Gun Maverick at all. I think you'll appreciate it as an amazing individual action movie, but it will mean a lot more and you'll get a lot more out of it if you know the original, in terms of, like, the little fan service moments. Like, there's so many moments, like, my friend was looking at me and they're like, I would just look over and you're like, oh, it just hit me in the feels. Like, so many hits in the feels moments. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. They're piloting with him. Like, I won't spoil it, but, like, I'll keep it vague, but there's just those moments I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like,
yeah, that's nice. Those are the moments that, it's good.
No movie's ever done that in terms of when they do these remakes. They do these sequels 30, 20 years later, 40 years almost in this case. Like, they never work out. They always bomb, or they're always worse. I'm like, this is the first one that's not only nailed it, but it's people are like, this is better than the original classic movie. That's never happened. So this is, I think this is monumental.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it sounds like what they're doing in terms of a sequel is a lot of movies, when they make a sequel of a classic film, it goes down the route of like either it tries to be somewhat of a soft reboot or it tries to be like almost like a reinvention, or they try to continue it, but like they make it very obvious, like a Force Awakens. Whereas
try to almost remake it.
Yeah. Whereas to me, this feels like they're trying to just make a sequel as if like I don't know, like it's just meant to be a sequel to the film, sort of thing. Like,
well, it's exactly sequel. What it is. Like when you, and this is just a baseline, like no spoilers at all. Like watch the trailer, you'll get it. The original Top Gun is about Maverick when he's in Top Gun, which is like the best of the best fighter pilots go to Top Gun, this school. And they're pretty much competing against each other for there to be a winner of Top Gun. And Maverick, you know, was in Top Gun in his day, and now has come back towards the end of it. He's a legendary pilot in the US Navy. He's a legendary US fighter pilot. And he's become so legendary in his massive 30-year career since the original Top Gun, because he was so young, obviously, and he was that young, brash pilot that would take big risks, but like he'd get the results. Like it's like, Maverick, you're not following the fucking rules of how you should fly and how you should do this, but he's doing incredible things. Things that people are like, you shouldn't be able to survive this. This shouldn't be doable. And he would always be like, it's not about the plane, it's about the pilot. Like that's why Maverick's sick. And obviously the way the movie sets up in the sequel is his 30 years have happened. He's a legend. And now he's come back, and this is now the end of his career. This is like the last flight of Maverick. And that's how they treat the sequel. And it's timed perfectly, and there's so many other characters. And he goes back to teach Top Gun, and this mission he's training them for, and it's just so fucking cool.
It sounds great. I look forward to it. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Highly recommend, if I haven't said that enough.
Nice.
Is there any video game news, man? Like, what's going on?
Oh, well, we've got a State of Play coming up. That's on Thursday, and we're getting into the E3 period now. E3's not on, but Summer Games Fest is coming up, and so is Xbox and Bethesda's showcase. So that's coming up, although we don't really know a lot about it, obviously. So it's just speculation, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I guess the only thing I really give a shit about is seeing Final Fantasy 16, and hopefully that'll be shown on Thursday at the State of Play event. I've got, my hopes up. I think it's gonna happen, but who knows?
Okay, well, that's cool. That's good. It's not really. I won't watch it. There's nothing I'm.
Well, no, not even when you were like deep into games did you even watch it.
No, yeah, true.
You've never watched E3.
No, I used to. Well, it would happen when I was asleep, but I would always watch all the trailers and everything afterwards and whatnot, for sure. Mm-hmm. I'd get excited at least about it. I used to, like 10 years ago, but now I don't care at all. Which is a shame. I mean, that's what it is.
Another piece of video game news is that Infinity Ward's officially announced Modern Warfare 2, so that's a thing.
That is a thing.
We've got little character pictures for like Captain Price, Soap McTavish, you got Gaz and some other bloke.
I didn't see any of that.
So that's cool.
Oh yeah.
Nice to
that
see.
Is pretty cool.
Task Force 141. They got a lot to live up to with Modern Warfare 2, so that's a tough one. One of the greatest
they did pretty well
first-person shooters of all time.
Well, they did really well. Yeah, I mean, it is Modern Warfare. The original Modern Warfare 2 is definitely, I'd agree, one of the greatest campaigns as well.
Yeah, just like the whole package. Modern Warfare 2 was just insanely good. Yeah.
I really enjoyed the reboot of Modern Warfare 1. Like, I thought that was a solid, like, fun first-person shooter campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully the second one, continues that on and just does its own thing and has those, what stands out with Modern Warfare campaigns isn't just the characters, but it's also those memorable moments and those missions that stand out there. Like, we haven't seen that before. That's just so cool. Mm-hmm. Like, the new Modern Warfare had it with that sort of, like, breach mission in London at night. Like, I streamed my whole first playthrough of that on Veteran. And people were like pumping me up for this mission coming up, and I was like, oh god, what is it? But yeah, so hopefully that's what what you need. You need those memorable action sequences. The Modern Warfare, campaigns is fucking Mission Impossible movies. Like, that's what you need to just have fucking sick action.
They're like action blockbusters with a really nice story and some memorable characters throughout.
Exactly.
Like, they're just really fun.
That's why I always loved the Modern Warfare or the Call of Duty campaigns early on in them. Like, that's why I don't care about the multiplayer at all. I like those campaigns because they are the video game versions of action movies. The Mission Impossibles, the even just the war movies that you watch.
Yeah.
So, definitely. Hopefully, I don't know if I'll play the second one. I might. They're always like 3-4 hours long. So, it's definitely the sort of thing I'd jump on if I so happen to think about it and have the time. At the moment, it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
There was another trailer actually this week I forgot about that came out this week.
There was. Was there? What was it?
Thor: Love and Thunder got its proper trailer.
Yeah.
Earlier this week. What were your thoughts on that?
It looked good. I like the vibes of it. Obviously, it's going for the same vibes as similar to Ragnarok with Taika Waititi directing it. So it's gonna have those vibes. I think it's got very strong vibes. I like it. It's nice. So hopefully it slaps. I mean, there's not really too much else to go off, just that it was fun. Like, the trailer gave the fun vibes. The characters look like they're doing interesting stuff, and they've got a good arc to go on. Jane Foster's Thor looked really cool. Although they've kind of established that maybe she's not a multiverse character, and she actually is just Jane Foster.
Yeah.
In that trailer, which was the bit to me that was oh, okay, what is going on here? But I guess that's interesting to find out why. It's just are they going to be able to explain that in a way where I'm like, oh, that's cool, or is it going to be, okay, I guess, I don't know. We'll find out.
And I still just continue to adore the way Taika sees Thor as really just this insecure character. It's like, what's it been 4 years? It's 8 years, 6 months, and 4 days, give or take. I don't know. Some people don't like that. I love that about him. We haven't really seen a superhero that look, he's a god. He has super powers, super strength. He's gorgeous looking, and he's super insecure.
It works. It works.
It's a very modern take, and I love it. But what stood out to me in this trailer, and I think the most important part of this trailer, is seeing Christian Bale as the God Butcher, or whatever the fuck the character name is, Gore. And Christian Bale, I've said it many times, I'll say it again, is the best living working actor right now, by far. So him being in a Marvel movie and giving him the villain role, I'm like, this is going to be the most memorable villain we're going to see in this era of Marvel, I think.
I hope so. He looks great. He looks really cool.
It's Taika. It's Christian Bale. He's gonna, it's Thor 4. It's going to be memorable.
Yeah. This movie has the makings of being incredible, the best movie currently in Phase 4, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree. That's my expectations for it. Because there's other movies I'm like, oh, I know they're coming, but Wakanda Forever, are you excited for? No, not really. No. I was excited for, but obviously Chadwick Boseman passed away, and there was so much drama filming it. I'm like, I just feel like it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
Then you've got the Marvels, and I'm like, look, there's things I'm excited about the Marvels for, but overall, I'm like, I don't really care. But Thor 4? This I care about. Taika Waititi, directing it. The Guardians are involved. It's just, there's a lot to like. There's a lot to like. For sure. And then Christian Bale on top of it all as a villain. And Taika said, he's like, we've got the best villain in Marvel. Russell Crowe's in it. He plays Zeus.
He is, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's just, I feel like it's Australia, New Zealand's corner of Marvel. They're all the movies are filmed here. They're filled with fucking Australians and New Zealanders. It's just, Thor's our guy. Yeah. Thor's definitely the most beloved, character in Marvel, at least here. Everyone loves him. Mostly women. Which I get. You can't, you can't not. you even have the obligatory fucking shirtless moment where they make him naked.
Oh my god,
in the
do
trailer.
that.
And he has a Loki tattoo, like back piece as well.
I didn't
like
notice.
his he has a tattoo with like Loki's horns and helmet, and it just says R.I.P. in the middle.
That's great.
Do we think Loki shows up in this?
No.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think Taika's good about that.
Yeah,
we don't need it.
There's no need.
He's got his own
Jane
show.
Foster, Thor. We got the Guardians in it for a bit.
Yeah, I agree.
I think no need.
Completely agree. Yeah, that's. I mean, a lot of movie and TV show news. I feel like.
Yeah.
Going on. I'll tell you what else came out. Stranger Things 4. Have you started?
Oh my god, it came out.
Yeah, dude. Stranger Things 4 is out, dude.
Oh no, I've not seen it.
It came out the same day as Obi-Wan.
Wait, really? I thought it was coming out in like June. Oh, okay.
Nah.
I guess I'll have to watch it.
I don't want to. I really don't.
We've got to do it. We can't not do it. Or we could have it be like Morbius, where no one's really seen it, but everyone pretends they know what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could just invent Stranger Things 4 in our heads.
Well, I mean, I reckon I could guess what happens.
What do you think? Give me a best guess. Do it now. Give me a prediction.
Okay, so in Stranger Things 4, you already knew like what I started saying. In Stranger Things 4, what I assume happens is when they were filming it, they brought Winona Ryder to set in her character's car. What's her character's name? Joyce?
Joyce, yeah, that's
Joyce. But obviously, Winona thinks she actually is Joyce because she's got split personality disorder, and she thinks Stranger Things is real. So I reckon they. Well, how many kids are there? There's like 7 kids. Then there's like the teenage in between ones, which is
that
like
all of them?
7 of now. Well, they're all like 80 years old now, and then you've got the grown ups. So there's about 40 main characters in the show now at this point.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good amount.
Which is great. Yeah. Love that. Loves too many people. I don't even remember most of their names. I know Mike. I know 11.
Will.
Hopper. Is that maybe? I don't know. Is that a character?
It is a character. Yeah.
Okay. Is it Dustin or Dusty?
It's Dustin, right?
Dustin. Yeah. He's one the teeth guy.
Yeah. He's good. I like him.
Yeah.
I think.
And then there's the redhead girl, Max.
Is that her name?
Max?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. And her brother was like the bad guy of 3 last season, right?
Oh yeah, the dude that looks like Zac Efron.
Yeah, well, he fucking is friends with David Jerome as well. Like they went to the same school, like acting school.
That's so
at the same
weird.
time. Yeah, he goes, "Oh yeah, I know that guy," and he showed me photos with him. I'm like, "What the fuck?" It's
That's
like,
so weird.
I'm like, I didn't realize he was from Whopper in Western Australia. Like that was studied there, which is where David studied. I was like, yeah, shit. I think he was the year above David. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's pretty fucking weird. But, cool. Another Australian representing. Anyway. And then who else is there? Well, I mean, we know Hopper is in Russia. There'll be another monster that somehow...
Oh, my God. Hopper's in Russia.
Well, this is what I think will happen. I think Scarlett Johansson will pick up Hopper with Florence Pugh in a jet from the Russian prison, right?
Yeah.
In the Quinjet, then Scarlett gets the Quinjet and she flies and she picks up Winona Ryder. Now Winona believes that she's an Avenger.
Right. I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. So she... somehow one of those like labs has like like in all the Stranger Things seasons there's a lab somewhere where there's an experiment going on somewhere, so there'll be one of those lab, there has to be. And Winona goes in there and she like Hopper, they're like trying to stop something from happening, like escaping, and then all the kids will die. Hopper's trying to stop it. Winona's there. Black Widow's there. And then Winona Ryder, Joyce, will like almost go to sacrifice herself, but in that point, like, she falls into this like thing with all these monsters. She comes out and she actually survives and is like, oh my god, what happened? And then she like clicks her finger and she goes, it's Morbin time. And she's actually gone.
That caught me so off guard. That's not what I was expecting at all.
and then
oh my god, this is amazing. This is amazing. This has been the long game to get Morbius into the MCU.
Yeah, but so what I'm saying is, so Morbius comes through the multiverse in Stranger Things 4 and enters the MCU.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
But in the follow up, because they'll make another Morbius movie, but it will be starring Winona Ryder.
Oh, that's gonna be so good. I'm so excited for that.
Because this is a different universe as Morbius, where it's Joyce that becomes Morbius.
Right, that's cool.
So but what Joyce actually ends up doing is she does kill all the kids in season 4 of Stranger Things. That's how it ends.
Well, you know, I mean, Millie Bobby Brown has been saying they need to treat the characters a bit more like Game of Thrones treats their characters, so like killing them off a bit more frequently. So I think, you know...
Yeah, but Millie Bobby Brown's a child and should shut the fuck up. To be honest.
Fuck. Oh, God.
Oh, that was so aggressive.
Oh, God. Isn't she like 18 now?
Is she? I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
If Drake stopped talking to her, then she must be 18.
That makes sense.
So, Jesus. But yeah, that's what I think happens in Stranger Things 4.
I just know whatever happens is not going to be as good as that.
I also know that we should have saved something like that for the actual podcast we do, and that podcast will just not be funny when we do end up having to watch the bullshit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think the only route we can go down now is just to watch Stranger Things 4 and just make a serious podcast on it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know what else there is to do, to be honest.
And I think if it goes down the road that we want it to go down, I think it will just naturally happen. I think, you know, I think we've got it in us to just subconsciously do that. I don't think either of us are going to be able to take the show seriously enough to do a serious podcast. So I think that, you know, eventually we'll watch it. I can't say it's top priority for me, especially because the episodes are so long.
Oh, it's too much.
It's so much commitment.
It's too much.
It's ridiculous. The last episode is longer than Multiverse of Madness.
Oh.
Just so unnecessary.
Oh my god. Are they all out, or is it just because I thought they were splitting the season 4 into like half release in terms of release?
They are splitting it in half, but is it not split in half with like? Is it those episodes that are split in half, or is that just the first bulk and there's a second bulk?
There can't be 9 episodes in half of the season.
I mean, Stranger Things season 4.
They've released 7 episodes.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So what, the last 2 episodes?
The last 2 episodes are coming out 1st of July.
That's
so should we wait? Should we wait until then? Do it all in one?
I mean, it's going to take me until then anyway to finish it.
Yeah.
You know? So we obviously have to wait till after the end comes out. We can't do a spoiler cast with half the show.
Yeah,
anyway.
True.
So we have that much time to get through it.
Oh, amazing. Okay, so we've got a good amount of time to
we're not in a rush.
Watch through this. And then they're doing another season anyway, so great. Even more.
I can't wait till that comes out in 4 years.
Yeah, and no one remembers anything that happened in the previous season.
I don't remember their names, let alone like what happened.
Well, you've proved you do remember the names. I don't know quite how you did that, but
I guess you're right. That's true. But like, I'm still confused with the ending of 3 because they left Hawkins, which you can't do, and then they ended up back in Hawkins at the end. So are they? So I can only assume they're in Hawkins still. in season 4.
They've got to be. If they're not, I'm going to be severely disappointed.
Well, you can't leave Hawkins. Everything is in Hawkins.
True. So really, it doesn't really matter where the show says they are. We know the truth.
They're in Hawkins. Yeah.
So that's completely fine. Even Hopper, thinks he's in Russia. He's not.
Yeah.
That'll be.
100%.
He's doing some mining. He's got his pickaxe.
There's multiple. There's towns like with the same name all over the world. Like there's multiple. Like there's a Paris in like Canada. So he's in Hawkins in Russia. So it's also called Hawkins. It's just another town that has the same name.
Sense.
Yeah.
So do they also have like a 80s shopping mall as well?
No.
They don't.
No, they don't. They don't have. Not an 80s shopping mall. More of like, I guess I'd call it more of a prison camp.
A little bit more of a labor camp than a shopping mall.
Yeah, it's still got like a bunch of kids in it, like almost like Russian versions of all the kids you see, but they all like one works like mining rocks and shit, like physical labor punishments. Yeah, there's a wizard kid as well called like 12, and yeah,
that's exciting.
And Russian Drake chats to her as well.
Oh no, not Russian Drake.
Yeah, the nonce. Russian Drake.
Oh my god.
Russian Drake the nonce. Yeah.
No.
We're not saying that about real Drake, that would be slander. But when Russian Drake, this made up guy, nonce.
Yeah.
Nonce.
God damn it, Russian Drake. I should have known.
I should have known. Russian Drake sees an underage girl.
He says it's Morbin time.
When I thought of the moment that I was like, I'm gonna somehow get Winona Ryder to say it's Morbin time, I'm like, this is gonna break James. I had it in my head, and you'll see my eyes glistened, and then I like kept going with the story for a while, and I'm just like, oh, this is gonna crush. This is gonna crush so hard. How many people are at home that are gonna burst?
Happy.
There's going to be someone on a bus on the way to like school or work or something that are going to laugh out loud at that moment. And that, I want you to comment when it was you, because you know it was you.
It's Morbin.
There'll be somebody.
It's
great. Morbin time. When Winona Ryder said it's Morbin time, that happened.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, I've seen all 9 episodes. You guys haven't seen it.
Yeah, true. I'm excited though. You've really bigged it up to me. Honestly, I'm more excited for that than Top Gun Maverick. You've made it out like it's one of the greatest shows of all time.
Yeah. Well, it is. It is one of the greatest shows of all time.
I'm so ready.
Can't wait to watch it. I actually don't want to watch it so badly.
Isn't it crazy how good season 1 was though?
I remember I loved season 1 and I like 2 more than 1. I watched them back to back. Like when 2 came out, I finally watched it, and I just thought it was one of the best shows I've ever seen. I was like, this is the best thing Netflix ever done. I loved it. And season 3, literally, I'm like, I hate this show. I actually hate the show. I hate all the actors. I hate the characters. I hate the story. I hate everything about it. I watched the trailer. I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Season 3 did that, but also mostly we did that to ourselves.
Yeah.
When we did that Stranger Things season 3 spoiler cast, and we literally ruined the show for ourselves.
Yeah.
Through memes.
It's rough.
Through memes.
Yeah. But I think, if anything, it's kind of made it better, Yeah.
I
think that at least, that'll get us through.
I can't care about a show when it's 3 years between seasons. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, that is a weird choice too, because I really don't remember much.
Stupid.
And I'm not going to fall into the trap, Netflix. I'm not watching it again. So I'm just going to go into this not knowing what the hell is going on, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, agreed. Just watch Morbius before. That's probably the best homework you can do before you watch Stranger Things season 4.
That's the watch guide that Netflix have put out. It's like it's a big graph of like what to watch, when to watch it, the chronological order, and it's just Morbius, then Stranger Things 4, and you're set.
You're
all set.
That's it. You don't actually need
want you to watch
Season 1 to 3 is not... it's recommended. No. It's advised, but it's not necessary.
It's not
Whereas it says that Morbius is necessary.
Morbius is necessary, yeah. It's like Morbius is to Stranger Things 4 what Infinity War is to Endgame. So you need that setup of those like important character moments when you watch the conclusive part. So.
Well, that's why we had to wait so long for season 4 of Stranger Things. It's because Morbius.
Exactly. Sony were working really hard on getting Morbius out. Jared Leto had to change the script 7 times because it just wasn't quite right.
Yeah, well, the people don't realize that Jared Leto takes his role so seriously that he literally gets surgery to look like Winona Ryder for all the movies. Winona Ryder's not a real person. It's just Jared Leto.
It's Jared Leto.
So the truth of it is, Winona Ryder isn't real. Jared Leto is Winona Ryder. But the character that is Winona Ryder, the real life actress, is split personality. So Jared Leto plays a woman that has split personality disorder that believes that every movie and show that she is in is really happening to her. So Winona Ryder believes Stranger Things is real. But Winona Ryder is also Jared Leto, the actor, playing Winona Ryder.
Both. He's a marvel of the film industry, I will say.
It's Morbid time. Right at the end. And then Hopper's like, no! And then that's the cliffhanger end. And then season 5 will be after... Well, there'll be Morbius 2, Morbius 3, Morbius Carnage... Morbius versus Venom, and then there'll be season 5 years from now. Stranger Things 5.
Yeah,
that'll be the finale. Yeah,
that's gonna be so exciting. I can't wait.
Yeah, to the Morbius Stranger Things universe.
That's gonna be so fun.
Yeah. So there's that. So hopefully everyone's excited for that coming soon.
Hopefully
they're excited, not hopefully it's happening. It is happening.
It is happening. Yeah. Hopefully everybody's looking forward to it.
Yeah, agreed.
I sure as hell am.
Oh, me too. And with that, we probably should wrap up this podcast, James. A nice, short and sharp episode of the As Always podcast, which is lovely. Because we're literally just talking utter fucking shit now. Which I love because we've somehow continued, without meaning to, the Winona Ryder Stranger Things memes. And we've incorporated Morbius.
Wonderful.
We're keeping it current. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the As Always podcast. We appreciate the fuck out of you and all your support. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the 4 Pillars Network if you haven't already. There's lots of great content coming out, podcasts, videos, all that sort of stuff. We just released Streamcast on Obi-Wan that I'm on. We also just released a God of War top 5 most anticipated things. That's with Eddie that hosted that. Is it top 5 most anticipated things I'm excited about like they normally are? Five things I want to see.
List, yeah.
Yeah, 5 things I want to see in God of War Ragnarok that Eddie covers. So go check that out. And as well, the last episode of the 4 Pillars podcast with James, myself, and George. It was a fucking great time. So plenty of content over the 4 Pillars Network, and rate us on whatever podcast service you listen to us on as well. That helps bring us up the algorithm and people see us. Really helpful. And if you want to support us even further, head over to patreon.com/. As always, for just as little as $1 a month, you get exclusive access to the best podcast on the internet, the Clubhouse podcast, the People's Podcast, powered by you, the people. You're all the characters. Everything we talk about are your topics, your stories, your advice. Go over there. Check it out. It's the best. And you can get other cool perks and rewards, including for the $5 tier and above, you get to be on the credits of all of our podcasts. So thank you to these people. We have Ollie the Superior Ollie, Damien the Not So Orange Gnome, Ferentino, Flash Paradox, Jesper Olsen, King Richard III, Olbrick, Ryan Hafer, Viridian, Ballsack47, Aragon, Kimasaba, Gamer Cream Pies, hashtag Methanize Guys 2, Please for Love, Fuck Hollywood, Adam the Banana Ghoul, Simp, Alfie Rodbert, Andrew, Big Dick 66699, Ben Higgins is thankful for his stick brethren, Benedict Clubbers, BFHC, Biggest Fucking Virgin, Bodge, BQ Overlord, The Elder, Brian Ford, Call Me Daddy, Christian0210, Connor DeRose, Built in the Alley, Dryman Gamer 101, Eli, Emil Catborg, Epic Alaric, Eredito Hacker, Ethan, Dean, Fishy, Furious Coco, Gene, Give Me a Penis, Kiko Swag, Grand Theft 6, Gwen Hughes, Hooky, Jack DG 1998, Jaden B. Bennett, Jake Ryan, Joe, The Founded Scarab, Josh Duvillier, Josh J. Anderson, Joshua Mora, Kassassin, Kid Ghostly, Liam, Luca, Lucas R05, Louis De Leon, Lumistrad, Mac Watto 123, Mario 5380, Massive Ass, Max H, Muddy Unicorn, Nick Miller, Otika World 7, our best and favorite mod branding, Play the Rules, Radok, Ravjar, Seth, Son of a Bitch, OG Dogger, So James hates the Batman too because he kills people, Sparky Bucks, Spell and Junk, The Blue Cow, Tony Walshy, and Zeppo. Thank you, Sweet Vintage Lifestyle Pounds Podcast. We'll see you there on Patreon.
Wonderful.
Next week for the Clubhouse Podcast, and again next week here on the Four Pillars Network for another episode of the Four Pillars Podcast. And James, as always, thank you for joining us. See you next time.
See you next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.